Amen. There is a word from God found in the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 18. When you found it, shout amen. Genesis chapter 18. We'll read verses 11 through 14. Genesis chapter 18. We'll begin at verse 11 and conclude at 14. This morning I'll read it from the King James translation as well as the Message translation. Genesis chapter 18 verse 11 reads, Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of woman. Verse 12, Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord, being old also? Verse 13, And the Lord said unto Abraham, Wherefore did Sarah laugh? Saying, Shall I of surety bear a child which am old? And the question is posed in verse 14, said, Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. The Message translation reads that Abraham and Sarah were old by this time, very old. Sarah was far past the age of having babies. Sarah laughed within herself, An old woman like me get pregnant with this old man of a husband? God said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh, saying me, have a baby, an old woman like me? Again, the question is posed, is anything too hard for God? I'll be back about this time next year, and Sarah will have a baby. That 14th verse, is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord this morning. This morning, I want to preach very quickly from this question straight out of the text. Is anything too hard for God? Look at your neighbor and say, Neighbor, is anything too hard for God? My brothers and sisters, let me ask you a real question this morning. Have you ever faced something so heavy, so painful, so confusing that you wondered if even God could fix it? Okay, I'm looking for some real folks this morning who's going to be real honest with me. The truth is, sometimes in life, because of what we've seen, because of what we've been through, because of what we are going through, we start to doubt and we start to count God out. I mean, let's be honest this morning, we really don't mean to count God out. But we look at our situation. We look at our problem. We look at our circumstances. We look at our dilemmas. We look at our lion's den. We look at our fiery furnace. We look at our Red Seas, and we started thinking, is this too much? This situation is too far gone. This is too broken. This is too hard. Why? Because society says it's impossible. People say it's over. The report says that it's final. The odds says you won't make And if we're not careful, my brothers and sisters, we'll start agreeing with what they say. You'll start telling yourself, I prayed, but it hasn't changed. I've cried, but the tears keep coming. I've tried, but I keep falling short. I've hoped, but I keep getting disappointed. But I came this morning with a word straight from heaven. I came to tell somebody that what's too hard for you is just right for God. You ought to tell your neighbor what's too hard for you is just right for God. What's out of your control is still under God's control. Because I found out that right in the middle of your hard place, right in the center of your struggle, right in the depths of your doubt, God will step in and ask the question, is anything too hard for the Lord? Let me remind you this Sunday morning, I don't know what you are going through, but there is nothing too hard for my God. I don't care what you are dealing with. There is nothing too hard for my God. I don't care what the doctor said. I don't care how low your bank account is. I don't care how long it's been. I don't care what your records say. There is nothing too hard for God because God specializes in hard things. Church, don't let your moment of doubt or your season of delay or your night of despair make you forget who God is. Just because it's too hard for man doesn't mean it's too hard for God. Just because it's too hard for your lawyer don't mean it's too hard for God. Just because it's too hard for your therapist doesn't mean it's too hard for God. Just because it's too hard for your bank account doesn't mean it's too hard for God, because you know we serve a God that's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. This is the same God who spoke to a valley of dry bones and life came. This is the same God who split the Red Sea. This is the same God who fed 5,000. This is the same God who gave sight to the blind. Can I be honest and testify? This is the same God who saved a wretch like me, cleaned me up, picked me up, turned my life around and placed my feet on solid ground. Is there anything too hard for the Lord? You ought to tell your neighbor, no, not my God. There's nothing too hard for God. Nothing too hard for God. I got anybody say, you should have seen me when I was in my mess. You should have seen me, I was on my way to hell. But the God I serve saved me. There's nothing too hard for God. Is there anything too hard for God? In Genesis chapter 18, we find Abraham sitting at the door of his tent in the heat of the day. Three divine visitors appear, one being the Lord himself, with what sounds like a ridiculous promise. He says to Abraham, Sarah, your wife, is going to have a son. Now this ain't just late in life. This is biologically impossible. Sarah is 90 years old. Her body is past the point of possibility. Her womb had been closed for decades. The hope for a child was buried a long time ago. And when Sarah, when she hears this promise, she laughs. Not because she was being disrespectful to God, not because she was ungrateful, but because she was tired. Has anybody ever been tired in the building on today? Tired of hoping, tired of waiting, tired of believing, tired of getting her expectations of only to fall again, tired of her empty womb. But the question comes in Genesis chapter 18, verse 14. Is anything too hard for the Lord? Understand, this wasn't just a question. It was a divine declaration. It was a heavenly reminder that delay does not mean denial. It was a heavenly reminder that dry places don't cancel destiny. When the season seems over, God can still speak life.
When the season seems over, God is still able to give life. I have you to know that this wasn't just a woman waiting on a baby. This was the birthplace of a nation. This was destiny wrapped in delay. This was promise buried in pain. And just when it looked too late, God showed up and said, I'm still able. And I don't mean to be nosy this morning. I don't mean to get all in your business, but is there anybody in here who's in their Genesis 18 moment where the odds are stacked against you, where your dreams feel dead, where your faith feels fragile, where your strength is running on fumes, where your hope is hanging on by a thread, where every door you knock on been closed and it looks like it's over. It looks like it's not going to happen. It looks like it's out of reach. It looks like it have gone too far. Well, let me help you, child of God. Get ready, because God is saying it's still possible and I'm still able. There is nothing too hard for me. I am God. I am the Alpha and Omega. I am the beginning and the end. I'm the one that slung the stars and slung the moon. I am that they say I am. Is anything too hard for God? I got 3 points I want to give you this morning, and I pray it will give you hope in this season of your life. My first point is this: note taker, it's not too late. You ought to shout right there, because it's not too late. Genesis chapter 18, verse 11 says, now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age. Let's pause right here, because the Bible doesn't just say they were old. It says they were well stricken in age. That phrase means they were advanced. They were aged. They was past the natural time of expectation. Thank you, Josh. In other words, they wasn't just old, but they were beyond the window where people would expect anything new to happen. Sarah's womb was dead. Abraham's body was worn out, and the people around them had already moved on in their mind. You can imagine that the community had already written her off. People probably was whispering, bless her heart, this just ain't for her. Her friends probably stopped praying, thinking obviously this is not what God wanted for her. And her own family probably said, just accept it and move on. And some of you know what it's like to have people to tell you all of those things. To tell you you'll never be more than what you are. People will tell you you miss your moment in life. People will tell you you are too old, it's too late, it's too far gone. But let me help somebody this morning. Just because man is saying it's over doesn't mean God is finished. Even if biologists say it's impossible, even if the calendar say you missed your season, even if logic say it's no hope, even if your experience say you've waited long enough, God will step right in your too late situation and say, watch me do it. Is there anybody in here testimony on today? You thought it was too late for your healing. You thought it was too late for your breakthrough. You thought it was too late for your family to come together. You thought it was too late for God to save your town. You thought it was too late for your joy. God said, watch me do it. Because he's in control. And when time run out, he can step in with eternity. When you run out of answers, he becomes the solution. You ought to look at somebody and say, it's not too late. Because the God we serve, he restores the years that the enemy tried to steal from you. He's able to revive what was once dead. He's able to rebuild what life tried to destroy. Renew what's been worn out. Just trying to tell you this morning, it's not too late. Is there anything too hard for God? Point number one, no. it's not too late. Point number 2, whatever you're going through on this morning, I want to let you know that it's not too big. Tell your neighbor it's not too big. The Hebrew word for hard means wonderful, miraculous, extraordinary, too marvelous to understand. And so when God says, is anything too hard for the Lord? He's really saying, is anything too wonderful for me? Is anything too extraordinary for me? Is anything too big for me to handle? I found out what we call a mountain, God calls it a molehill. Oh, I got some Bible readers in there. What you call a storm, God is able to say, peace, be still. What you call impossible, God says, this easy work for me. Let me tell you, good hope, there is nothing too big for our God. And I don't know what you're going through this morning, but I want to let you know that cancer, it ain't too big. Bankruptcy, it ain't too big. Divorce, it ain't too big. Addiction, it ain't too big. Depression, it ain't too big. Your court case, it ain't too big. Ministry ain't too big. Trauma, grief, anxiety, confusion, it still ain't too big for my God. What makes you think anything is too big for the God we serve? This is the same God that spoke a word and the entire universe came together. He said, let there be, and there was. He didn't swing a hammer. He didn't consult with an architect. He didn't Google instructions. He just said, let there be, and there was light. Any Bible readers in this building on the day? He said, let there be, and the waters divided. He said, let there be, and the earth bring forth. What do you think something is too big for my God? That's why I came today to tell you, in this season, don't shrink your prayers because of your problems. Don't limit your praise because of your pain. You have to pray big. You got to trust big. You got to believe big because we serve a big God. It's not too big for God. I dare you to say it like you believe it on today. It's not too big for my God. Is there anything too hard for God? Point number 1, no, it's not too late. Is there anything too hard for God? Point number 2, no, it's not too big. My last and final point, whatever you're going through on today, I want you to know that you are not broken. You are not broken. Now catch this. Sarah didn't laugh out loud. She laughed within herself. This was a private, internal reaction. A silent chuckle from a place of silent pain. Because she wasn't just hearing a promise, she was reliving years of pain. Why did Sarah laugh? Because she was too wounded to believe again. She was too weary from waiting. She was too worn out from trying, too disappointed to dream, too broken to even respond in faith. Can I put it in my imagination? She was tired of everybody else having a baby shower but her. Tired of everybody else having a gender reveal but her. Tired of watching everybody else's prayers get answered but her. She was tired of being reminded every month that the promise still hadn't came. I can imagine she had probably stopped dreaming, probably stopped expecting, probably stopped hoping, probably stopped imagining her miracle could happen. And I don't mean to get in your business again, but is there anybody in here this morning who knows what it feels like? You've been through so much. You've been let down so many times. You even shouted for somebody to say God is about to do it. You learned to laugh it off. You smile to keep from crying. And you say to yourself, this could never happen for me. That kind of love is not for me. That level of healing is not for me. That kind of breakthrough is not for me. But here's the shout part, don't miss it. Here's the shout part in the text that even in her doubt, God still delivered. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Even in Sarah's doubt, God still delivered. Even in her brokenness, God still birthed the promise. Baby, because you can be broken and still be chosen. You can be doubting and still be destined. You can be laughing at your own miracle and still walk right into one. Let me tell you something about God. He doesn't need your perfection. He needs your availability. He can use broken people to carry his perfect plan. Church, look at the record. Look at who God used. He used stuttering Moses to speak for a nation. He used scared Gideon to lead an army. He used running Jonah to preach revival. He used a lying Jacob to father 12 tribes. He used a doubting Thomas to carry the gospel. He used a denying Peter to build the church. He used a persecuting Paul to write most of the New Testament. And if he used them, I stopped by to tell you this morning that he can use you too. Don't let your broken past block your future. Don't let your pain silence your purpose. Don't let your history counsel your destiny. I dare you to say it with your chest. I'm not too broken. I'm going to my seat. But before I go,